Hey guys, what's up? Once again, mp4podcast.com, and right now I'm talking about the new Canon 5D Mark III, which just been announced. Now I have to say it is a pretty good camera, but it can miss a couple of important features that videographers want. Now keep in mind I will be talking about this from a video point of view, and just in case you're a new viewer, I am playing Terminator 2 on the Sega Genesis. Now, one of the biggest problems about this camera for video, it does not have clean HDMI out. Now, I just can't understand why didn't Canon do this, since they kind of pretty much were the king of DSL filmmaking with last generation DSLRs. You know, if you comparing the Nikon or the Panasonic line, which was also somewhat popular. It is still popular. I use a Panasonic GH2, but there's no clean HDMI out, so I mean that seems to be kind of a bad move. I just can't wrap my head around that. Now the Nikon D4, which does have clean HDMI out, also gives you 4:2:2 color space, which is really good for color correcting and doing green screen special effects. However, the Canon sensors, some of them, not all of them, are particularly good at doing green screen with only 4:2:0 color space. And there's been a couple of music videos that have been shot on the 7D with green screen, and you really can't tell. Now, I will say this: Red Tails, the George Lucas movie about the Tuskegee Airmen, Philip Bloom was one of the cameramen on the set, and he did use, I know he used the 7D, and I think he used the 1D Mark III at the time, or whatever it was. So I think some of the green screen that was done on Red Tails was done with the Canon 7D. But I will say this, but I mean, it should still be there. It's not perfect, it's still not as good as 4:2:2. However, Canon, with their crop sensors from last generation, were really damn good with green screen on 4:2:0. What else can I say about the camera? I mean, the camera does have amazing low light capabilities. I mean, they really pushed that 2 extra stops, so that's pretty amazing, especially for low light in video work. And Canon puts out some kick-ass lenses. I mean, I have to admit, some of their lenses are better than Nikon. Some Nikon lenses are better than Canon. So it's kind of a toss-up of which brand you go with for that reason. Now, one of the reasons that comes to mind as why they did not include more functions like the Nikon D4 is because Canon wants to push their Canon C300 professional camcorder, which some Hollywood filmmakers are now really endorsing, such as Ron Howard and a few other people. Scorsese is another one that comes to mind that really do like the Canon C300. Don't get me wrong, the Canon C300 is an awesome camera. The only downside is that the color is 8-bit and not 10-bit. Now, Philip Bloom has said that, you know, a lot of people say, oh, it's only 2 extra bits, but it's I think it's like 40% more color latitude and grading and something like that. I could be completely wrong. I know it's like 40%, or I think it's 4%, but I'll leave a link to his review of the Canon C300 in case you guys want to watch that. Link will be in the description box. I also have to think that this is somewhat of a bad move, even though Canon does have the C300, because there were a lot of filmmakers, especially Philip Bloom, even the cinematographer from House, the show on Fox, that liked the full frame sensor of the 5D Mark II. They have a much more shallow depth of field, and he actually talked about that a lot. So, I mean, if you want to get a full frame sensor with uncompressed data output, I mean, you're going to have to go with the Nikon D4 or the D800. Now, I know there's a little bit of aliasing or Moire problem, and a little bit in the D800 that I was able to see from promo videos. We will have to wait a little bit longer to see from regular people shooting, because you do know they do put their best people to shoot with these cameras. So I mean, these videos look spectacular. But there was one Nikon video that was produced for Nikon that had a little bit of more. However, there is a very special filter for the Canon 5D Mark II. I saw it on Philip Bloom's blog, and I'll try to leave a link to that in the description box. It's actually a filter that goes inside the camera, where you pop up the mirror, you put the filter in there, and then you just put your lenses on. And most lenses, I mean, it literally knocks out all aliasing and Moire. Not on all lenses, but on most of them. And it's a pretty good trade-off. Now, some people like Canon over Panasonic. There's a little bit of a debate. I'm a Panasonic guy. I like the GH2. That's my camera. However, I don't think everybody should be using a GH2 if it's something that you don't like. Maybe you like the color output of Canon. Maybe for whatever reason, maybe you like the softer look. A lot of people say, well, it's not that sharp. Some people like the softer look. It doesn't show people's imperfections in their face a little bit. Some people like that sharper look on their HD TV sets. So there's a little bit of debate of which one's better. I'll tell you one thing. When I'm watching something on Vimeo, because that's where you see a lot of the Canon, Panasonic, and Nikon DSLR short movies, I really don't even care what you shoot on, as long as it's entertaining to watch. So keep that in mind. It's about entertainment. So even if you have a cheap camera, just make something that's fun. And people, once they start watching, really won't care. Now, I'm going to go into a little bit of a different point of view of why Nikon may actually be a better bet to go with this time around. Because if you go with the Nikon D4, you can put it on a rig, and you can put a Ninja recorder, and a Ninja recorder is HDMI out into the Ninja. There's another company that makes a recorder, I can't remember their name, but it records uncompressed data, and I believe it's 60i, so you still have to do a pull down, but none of it's compressed. And now this is one of the reasons why I do think it's probably a good thing to get uncompressed data, is because I've seen some footage from Canon and even the other brands, but mostly last generation was all Canon, except for a little Panasonic and a little bit of Nikon. And I'll try to leave one video, two videos probably where you can see it. This problem is pixel popping, and pixel popping is kind of like you'll just see something pop for no reason. It's part of the texture, and it just pops. Maybe there's a situation with the bit rate, with that color, or whatever it is, and it just pops out. Maybe for whatever reason, it's variable, whatever it is. Phil Bloom filmed something with, it was a horse video, with horses, horse racing. And there's a guy with a green hat in the back of his head. You can see that cap pop in the back of his head. And there's a video about a little girl, I guess in the country or something. And there's a little shack right there, and the wood on the shack, the textures popped. And I was watching it in HD. So that might be one of the reasons why you may want to have uncompressed, because you're not going to compress it. Remember, everything, even from even red cameras actually compress the data, and a lot of people think red is lossless, like it's uncompressed. It actually is compressed. However, it's a very special codec, compressed, but still gives you raw features, such like when you use a Nikon or a Canon or a Panasonic or a Pentax or an Olympus camera. You get raw features, which you can change the white balance in post-production. So it's a very special compressed patent codec by Red. So that's my best understanding with it. However, I don't really know if I was getting, if I didn't buy Panasonic last year, which way would I go? Which way would I go? I really kind of don't know right now. If money is a problem and money is tight, then you're probably looking, as of what we know about what cameras are coming out now, well, the T4i will be out, and that will probably be under $1,000, and that'll be a kick-ass little DSL camera. And I'm kind of still considering buying that Canon T4i. Can't talk right now. However, you know, if you go up, I mean, do you want to buy some of these other cameras and spend all this money? And then you're not going to have the 4:2:2 color space. So it's kind of like, you know, you're kind of like, you know, I don't have that much money, so I'll get the T4i. And then maybe, you know, you're working a little bit on it, you make a little money, or however you make money doing video. Maybe it's YouTube, or, you know, maybe you're doing weddings, or whatever the hell you're doing. You know, and then it's like, hey, I want to buy, you know, upgrade to another. Maybe you want to get full frame, and, you know, Nikon is the camera to get for full frame, in my opinion, for professional video work. But you know, then Nikon doesn't have a professional camcorder, where you may want to get the C300, where you know, that's a pretty amazing camera as well. So it's kind of hard. But I will say this about Nikon is the aperture control. There's a little level where you can, you know, just turn it, you know, from the back of the mount and change the aperture. So you can get adapters to have aperture control for micro four thirds on next cameras. So if you go Nikon, right, you can get an AF100 or whatever the next model is of that, or you can even get a GH2 for some things, or you can get, you know, the Sony Nexus cameras, and your Nikon will probably work pretty damn good. Now, there has been some problems getting mounts from Canon lenses to work on you know, the Nexus cameras, and it's been, you know, a little hit and miss there. There's been a couple of different mounts, electronic ones. I do think there is one good one from Italy. I think it costs about $250, but some of the other adapters haven't seemed to be that good. But there is one that does seem to be very good. It'll work on a Sony Nexus 5N or a Sony Nexus 7 or so on. It's very compact. Some of these other adapters, there's an adapter, there's cables, and then the control setting has to be mounted onto the side of the rig. It's kind of a pain in the ass, to tell you the truth. So, I mean, you can add up why Canon is better sometimes and make a whole entire list of why Canon's better. Sometimes you can make a list and make it why Nikon's better or why Micro Four Thirds is better. But, you know, just keep in mind, it's about what you film at the end of the day and how you use your tools. You know, but I do think you should study a little bit if you're new and if you're looking to buy something. Read Philip Bloom's blog. I mean, he's a very unbiased reviewer. He doesn't really care what companies think of him. He buys his own gear. He doesn't get stuff in to review. Like, companies send him stuff, he buys what he reviews. And what he doesn't buy, he'll rent, and he'll do a review on that. Like, he rented the Red Scarlet. That probably cost him like $500 for the day to rent or something like that, or whatever. And he reviewed it. So just think about what you want and why you want it. I'd kind of be leaning, if you're in the $1,000 price range, probably T4i or GH2, because those are the two you're going to be looking at. But if you can spring for about, you know, $4,000-$5,000, you may want to really consider Nikon. But it's kind of confusing which ones to go with. So anyway, guys, this is mp4podcast.com. Let me know your thoughts and what cameras you think are the best to go with right now. I will say this before I sign off. Video people are always switching cameras. They're always usually buying different gear, or they buy multiple systems to buy with. And I was really surprised about that when I went into video, because photographers, for the most part, just seem to stick with one brand, and that's it. But video people, it's like there's a lot more to consider when you're doing video. So that's pretty much it. So once again, guys, this is MP4podcast.com. Sign out. You guys take care. Later. Bye.